Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice hitting cinemas has left people wanting more. Well, some people. And the good news is we will be getting more in the form of an extended cut this July. There's been a couple of deleted scenes confirmed, and we'll get to those. Don't think that we won't. And if you think that we won't, well, we are, so shut your bloody mouth. But in this video, I want to talk about those and some of the other elements that could have made it in, such as very early concepts for the film and characters entirely removed. Maybe one of them is the Joker. And when I say maybe, I mean he is one of them. We'll talk about it. Now, very early on, Batman v Superman was to be a straight up Man of Steel sequel. Obviously, this didn't happen. Maybe because that movie didn't do super well. I mean, it did okay. It just didn't make like Dark Knight box office money. So the idea to include Batman stemmed out of a potential Man of Steel Easter egg, where at the end of the film, a crate full of kryptonite was to arrive at Wayne Manor. Snyder said once that was spoken out loud, they knew the direction that the film would then go. He also mentioned that when they knew Batman would make an appearance, Warner Brothers encouraged him to bring back cast from Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. He pushed back against this and ultimately won out, so that he could create a world where the characters of Superman and Batman could exist in the same universe convincingly. A number of Batman logo designs were considered before settling on the Dark Knight Returns version, as were variations on his suit, including one armor that's very similar to the one worn in the Night of Owls storyline. Batman at one point was also considered to be older and grayer, again more in line with the Dark Knight Returns, and more of his armor was to be stripped away during his battle with Superman. Lex also had slightly less worse hair, arguably, but he was pretty much always going to be the younger tech mogul version that we saw. Except Snyder did mention that the usual suspects were considered for the role, including Bryan Cranston. Doomsday went through a myriad of designs, including this one, where we see Batman do more than just run and hide for most of the battle. Some rough sketch work also shows Superman beating up a group of people, though it's not clear who or where, and Batman was also to have a machine gun, probably in the Doomsday fight, considering he's standing with both Wonder Woman and Superman. As mentioned, a few DC individuals ultimately didn't make the cut. But Jenna Malone's character, heavily rumored to be Barbara Gordon, formerly Batgirl, now Oracle, shot all those scenes but then had them removed. They'll though turn up in the 3-hour cut, which we will get back to in a minute. Both the Joker and the Riddler were also to cameo, but it was decided that they drew too much attention away from Batman and Superman, though they still get a few little nods. All of which can be seen in my Easter egg video that looks like this picture of the image I made for it. Funnily enough, Snyder wanted Christian Bale to appear, but as a character very different from his version of Bruce Wayne or Batman. This in the end didn't pan out, probably to ensure audiences weren't confused, so I guess they just thought, we'll just add more dream sequences within flashbacks or whatever. And speaking of casting that didn't happen, Jesse Eisenberg originally came in to play CIA agent Jimmy Olsen. The idea being that the audience would think that he'd play a major role before being killed off almost immediately. Kind of like Steven Seagal in Executive Decision, which as we all know is the greatest and best movie of all time and is the high watermark for both modern cinema and high and tight ponytails. But let's talk about the 3-hour extended cut, which by the sounds of things was to be the original theatrical cut until very late in the game. That might have something to do with the longer the movie, the less cinemas it plays in, but who knows? And apparently it's not necessarily specific scenes, but it just fleshes out the story in general. It includes a longer version of Batman's warehouse rescue, additions to the Doomsday fight, an extended ending, and is generally considered much more violent, hence the R-rated classification. The deleted scenes though were to include this one that we've already seen of Lex Luthor, waist deep in Kryptonian afterbirth. What is it with this guy? He's all about weird, gross liquids and jars of piss. Anyway, he's learning about the universe from the alien ship's AI. And we see 3 mother boxes and what looks like either Steppenwolf, one of Darkseid's lieutenants, or Yuga Khan, Darkseid's father. This helps flesh out Lex's complete mental breakdown at the end. He's talking about something coming to destroy everyone or whatever. Or it doesn't. I don't know. Another scene was also highlighted by Deborah Snyder, who mentions a moment where Clark goes to Gotham to investigate Batman, where apparently a lot more information is given. In addition to that, it's said that the desert scene at the beginning of the film plays out very differently. Perhaps we see Superman take out more people. There is concept art of him shouldering a tank, which looks like it could fit right in there. Finally, one of the things I was disappointed with about this film was that we got no new information concerning the dead Robin, other than what we got in the promotional materials. The concept art, though, might offer a little bit of insight, with one of the designs resembling Tim Drake's outfit from the Arkham game series, hood and all, and the other with a domino mask and staff. Granted, a few Robins have wielded a stick, but this might indicate that the Robin who died may be an amalgamation of a few versions and not just straight up Jason Todd who was the one killed in the comics. I just mentioned this because I'd like to see it expanded on, but maybe they're saving it for future films. But speaking of, what out of all this would you have liked to have seen make it into Batman v Superman? Or even an idea that's not here, that's your own? If you have any thoughts, please feel free to leave them below. Or even check out some of my other videos, including an animation of the cancelled Batman vs Superman movie from 2004. Also have a podcast linked below. It's called The Weekly Planet. It's available on the internet, including portable mobile devices. You probably have one. Good for you. What an age we bloody live in. Alright, that'll do it. Thanks everyone. Take care.